Hey, everybody. It is me, Alviana Brewster, the CEO of Black Nurse Entrepreneurs. It just so happens to be the premier organization for the Black nurse who is interested in launching, building, and growing his or her entrepreneurial endeavors worldwide. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. It's been a minute, it's been a long time since I was with you guys, but I am back and I am kicking off season number 3 of our B&E Presents the Trend podcast. And guess what? I had to bring with me one of my good friends, okay? I had to showcase a B&E elite member, okay? She is going to come and drop all of the gems. So I hope that you are ready to receive exactly what she has to give. Now, let me introduce her to you real quick, okay? Real quick. And then I'm going to bring her up. This is the Dr. Jessica Chung, hailing from the great state of Florida. Okay, I wish I was down there right now, but I'm not. It is okay. It is just what it is. Okay, she is from Florida. She has a practice down there. It is called JC Healthcare and Associates, and she also has another business. It is called International Business Association for Nurses. Okay, now she's going to come and tell you all the details about all of the businesses that she has. I'm not going to even get into all that. I'm going to let the expert handle that. But what I'm most excited about is this is another one of our multiple streams queens. So I am excited to bring to you, to present to you the Dr. Jessica Chung. Okay, so let me go grab her really quickly. Hold on just a second. Boom, there she is right there. Hello, beautiful queen. How are you?
I like multiple stream queen. I like that. That's a new one. I like that one.
What is going on? How are you today?
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So listen, I gave the audience a little brief introduction, but you can tell the people a little bit better about what you do than I can. So I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and tell them, who is Jessica Chung? What does Jessica Chung do? Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm excited to be here. Season 3 of the B&E podcast. Amazing. So I am Jessica, right? So I started out as a registered nurse way back in 2009, 2010. And just continue to get more degrees than a thermometer. Here I am with my doctorate. So started out as a registered nurse with associate's degree, went on to get my bachelor's, went on to get my master's as a family nurse practitioner, and finally my doctorate in nursing. So I've been doing this my entire career. Like healthcare nursing is all I know as far as when it comes to my profession. And I love what I do. So I own my own practice, primary care, down here in Tampa, Florida, as well as I've started up in 2020 the International Business Association for Nurses, where our main goal started as our main mission was helping nursing professionals become entrepreneurs, which has then exceeded now into healthcare professionals, investors, all type of people who want to get their hand in the healthcare business industry, which is a good thing. And so that has been going on for almost 4 years now. So it's been amazing doing that. I'm excited to be here to talk about what I've been doing, what I've been up to, what we've been up to in regards to the International Business Association for Nurses. And I'm excited.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate all of that good stuff. So one of the questions that I get a lot, right, is how do you even get started with entrepreneurship? So before you even delve into that, what led you even to start a business to begin with?
So this goes back to probably about 2017. Yes, I would say 2017. And that is the year I decided to go back to school for the last time to get my doctorate. But I had a mission in mind. I knew that I wanted to start my own practice. So that was kind of something, practicing in the role as a nurse practitioner for about 2 years at that point. And I had seen a lot from 2015 to 2017. I saw a lot in that role, and I knew I wanted to do something differently. So it was kind of one of those things. It was the back of my mind. I received, kind of like a motivation, from someone in regards to that. But it wasn't something that I had a concrete idea of when I would actually do it. So nonetheless, I went back for my doctorate degree. Not that it was necessary, because but I knew I wanted to achieve something more. So I knew that that was like the thing I needed to do before I went on to anything else. After graduating with my doctorate in 2018, that's when it just kind of all hit me. It was like, now is the time. And so I started doing a lot of research, preparing, just trying to figure out how I was going to actually do this. And I eventually, between 2018 and 2019, that's when I actually launched my own practice. And I actually launched as a house calls practice. So a lot of people don't know that. I didn't have like a, office building. I didn't even have a room. I just had me, I had my little equipment bag, had a car, and I was going to people's homes, places, their jobs, providing services. And so that's pretty much how I started. I One thing that I like to tell people about my story is that I really didn't have anyone to help me along this journey. When it comes to someone already in the business, there was actually a lot of people that I reached out to that either just did not get back to me, or they just didn't have the time. I was willing to pay. I was like, I'm willing to pay. Tell me how to do this. Tell me what to do. And it was just not as easy back in 2018, 2019, trying to put it all together. There were nurse practitioners out there that had their own business, but it wasn't very easy to find someone who was open and willing to share the information, and help others along the way. So nonetheless, I've had to figure it out on my own. I had to make all the mistakes. I had to do all the things that now hopefully I'm able to help people speed up that process, right? What took me over a year or maybe about 2 years to do, I have seen people do now in 3 months. To me, that is just absolutely amazing. So that's pretty much how I started, and that has now led to where I am today.
Very good. So I know that if anybody read our description or read the title, and by the way, those of you who are watching, or if you listen to us later on, I want to say thank you for supporting this whole entire nurse entrepreneurship mission that we have going on. So make sure that you leave us a comment or a like or something. Let us know that you're rocking with us. So if you read my title, it says Medspas, it says IV hydration, it says private practice, and all the other things, right?
All the things.
So one of my questions for you is, because a lot of people, one of the first things that I hear from people who are interested in launching a business, they want to know, well, what degree do I have to have, and what can I start? Do I have to be a nurse practitioner to have a private practice? Can I be a such and such? Can I be an LVN and have a med spa? So what is your answer to those types of questions?
It's a loaded question. I get the question every day. It's a loaded question. So firstly, I tell people it all depends on where you live. Let's start there. Your state determines the jurisdiction in how you practice, your scope of practice, and as well as the type of business you can own and operate. With that being said, some states really, other than outside of your scope of practice, when it comes to business, some states say, hey, as long as you operate your business legally the way you're supposed to, we don't care who's actually operating or owning the business. Some states say, hey, if you're trying to start anything that's a practice medical related, and you're not a physician, legally you can't do that, or you have to have a physician as your partner in some way. So there's all types of different stipulations depending on the state that you're in. So that's number one. And then two, obviously, as I mentioned, your scope of practice determines that in the state you live, because an LPN in New York may be restricted from doing anything, as far as without direct supervision, as opposed to an LPN in Florida might, be able to just have a medical director, and have that agreement in place and be able to provide services within their scope of practice. So I tell people it's twofold when you're starting any type of practice. And just so I also clear it up, med spas, IV infusions, primary care, weight loss clinics, those all constitute under private medical practices. They all are considered medical practices. And you have to be able to understand that, your scope of practice, understand your state laws, know the state laws, know how to find and understand the state laws to determine what you can do. I would say at this point, and disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, but I would say at this point, in every state, there's some way, in some form of fashion, that a non-physician healthcare professional can own and operate a business.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Mm-hmm. It is definitely one of the most common questions, and I think misunderstandings that a lot of people have. They feel like, well, I gotta have a doctorate or MP or whatever in order to even just start a business. Some people think just a basic business, a CPR business, I gotta be a such and such. No, you don't. Not necessarily.
No. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I came to realize was I realized, like, wait, I can use the knowledge and the education I have and start a business. There's so much that being specifically nursing professionals that you can do and start a business that does not even involve direct patient care.
Yep.
You don't have to see a patient, touch a patient, anything like that. Stay within your scope, use the education and experience and the knowledge that you have already, and make money doing it.
Yep, I agree. Good stuff. So you said initially you started with house calls.
Yes.
And one of the things I wanted to highlight, this kind of segue into your private practice, is you're one of the people that I know of for sure that has like a membership based model with your private practice.
Yes.
Are you still doing it like that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about that because a lot of people don't really think about that. I think most businesses should consider some type of a membership or a subscription type of something, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't think people think about it when it comes to private practice. Mm-hmm. And so shed a little bit of light on the membership model.
Yeah, so it's basically, it started out as what is now known as direct primary care. That is how this came about, is where you can provide primary care services in the form of a monthly membership. And within that membership, you decide what the patient receives, whether if it's a certain amount of office visits or if they receive some type of ancillary services, labs, whatever you want to include or exclude from that membership, you can do that. And now that has expanded into direct care specialties. So now outside of primary care, gynecology, pulmonology, cardiology, now these other specialties are getting into it because they're like, well, hey, we can see more patients, people who don't have traditional healthcare insurance, and we could charge a membership, a monthly membership service, or maybe it's not monthly, maybe it's quarterly or biannually, whatever the case may be. And we can service people who don't have health insurance. And now that is in med spas, where it's not known as direct primary care. Obviously, it's just a membership at a med spa, like a gym membership. So, med spas have memberships. You might get, this service, that service at X amount of dollars, or maybe it's the same service, and instead of paying the normal rate for that, whatever that service is in that med spa, you would pay a discounted rate as a member. So from the business aspect, when you're offering a membership, you are offering something that people who are not a member don't receive. So there has to be some, exclusivity to the membership. There's got to be some benefits. There's got to be some perks that you would offer in that membership that someone who is not a member wouldn't receive, but also use it as a way to market your services and receive what I like to call recurring passive income.
Yep.
So when someone's a member, you sign them up, you get that recurring passive income from that membership, of that service that they're receiving every month. And that's a loyal client or a loyal patient And that helps you to establish a relationship. You don't want to just say, see people here and there once a year, once every 2 years. If you're providing a quality service, you want your patients to stay with you, your clients to stay with you.
For sure, for sure. That's good. So let's talk a little bit about some of the services. I think that's another question that a lot of people often have as well. So because you're in this really kind of like an umbrella, or at least it looks like an umbrella to me, an umbrella with a lot of different little things going on. Give us a look in behind the scenes of some of the services that you provide some of your clients, so that anybody who is interested in IV hydration or whatever, or any of the other services, they have kind of an idea of, oh, okay, so I can offer this or I can provide that in my company. Right.
So as far as the services we offer, so we have our 12-week program, which is the Academy for Private Practice Startup. Mm-hmm. And it's a 12-week intensive program. It's a group consulting program. And anyone that's starting up any type of practice, whether it be primary care or a specialty or a med spa or an infusion clinic, and they want that kind of close one-on-one guidance and help as they do the process, we recommend that they join that program. We do rolling enrollments. However, you can join at our specific start times throughout the year, which is 3 times a year, which is we have one coming up in June. And we encourage people to do that, especially where they've tried it before and they've been stuck, or they're just one of those individuals that they just don't know what to do. And that's okay. If you don't know what to do, you really should seek help to do it. So it's really for individuals who say, you know what, I need help to do this, and I need someone that's going to hold me accountable. Mm-hmm. So also another huge part of the program is accountability. Any one of my past students would tell you, I listen. It's one of those things. It's like, I am giving you all of this, and you have to say, okay, I'm going to use this information. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to execute. Because if you invest in, this type of program that we offer, and you don't really put in the effort to get the results, then you're not going to see the product that you want. Right. So we have that program. And then we also have our self-paced courses, which are for individuals who are more likely to receive information and implement on their own, and maybe just need little guidance, or maybe they started the process and they're just stuck along the way somewhere and they need to figure out how to get over that hump. So we offer the IV hydration business startup course, the Medspas business startup course, and the point of care lab startup course. So those are the 3 courses we offer. We are going to release this year the direct care and cash pay clinic course. So if anybody who is just wanting to just only accept cash, self-pay, implement memberships, packages, that is the course that we're tailoring just for that. And then we're in the works of, hopefully this summer, releasing our weight loss clinic course, which let me just clarify, medical weight loss, which has been a game changer in the FDA approved treatments in the past few years. So how we are just putting in that only, like I have realized that with the what's going on in the weight loss, medical weight loss, that you can start a clinic just on that alone.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
If you don't want to do anything else, you can make quite a few $1,000s part-time alone just doing that.
Wow.
So we're going to release that course as well. And then we also some other services. So we have the Collaborative Physician Network, where if you need a collaborative physician or a medical director, we will find and match you with one. And then we also offer our healthcare credentialing services. So if you just need help with doing healthcare credentialing, so you can get credentialed with healthcare insurance companies, we also offer that service.
Very good. Very good. You said point of care as far as laboratory services, correct?
Yes.
So I want to highlight that a little bit, because a lot of people jumped in during the COVID wave.
Yes.
And then when the COVID wave was kind of died down or over, then people are like, well, I don't know what to do now with this.
Yes.
And so I want you to, because point of care testing was there way before COVID
Right.
and it will be there after COVID. And so I want you to talk to what are some things that people can do with their lab. Either those, we got some people that have them and they've been lying dormant because they're like, well, COVID's over. Or, and we also have a group of people who are like, well, should I get into this because COVID's no longer as big of a thing? So,
Yeah.
what are your suggestions for those people?
So one thing we could definitely say, COVID is not going anywhere. We may not see a prevalence, and we're not seeing as much breakouts. But we, like I tell people, I tell my students, you never know. God forbid, you never know when this thing could rise up, mutate itself, create super COVID, whatever, and then we're doing this all over again. God forbid, or something else. Maybe it may not be COVID. It may just be something, some other virus that is prevalent and could cause a pandemic, right? So we know that this, as far as that goes, that's never going anywhere. Secondly, we may not be seeing as much a need for testing as far as individual testing. However, there are some companies that you could probably partner with or work with that still require or mandate testing, COVID testing. And so there are companies that like they have not let up on, you know, COVID testing. They may not be requiring vaccinations, or they may not be requiring other things, but testing may be a part of their standard in making sure all the employees are safe and healthy. And you being the healthcare professional, the expert, and if you have your lab, your clinical lab set up, you can still offer testing to these private companies and organizations. And don't think it's just COVID. So we have to remind ourselves we're the experts, right? So these companies, they just might be thinking like, oh, well, you know, we just need COVID testing, or we only needed it. We don't need your services anymore. You have to tell that company, well, yes, you do. You have all these employees. Have all these employees done a physical exam or a wellness screening? So you can implement biometric screenings, paramedical exams. And so those are not full blown annual physicals. Those are just like your screenings, you know, your analysis of glucose, lipid panel, blood pressure, pulse, weight, you know, BMI. That's another service you can implement in your lab, especially those of you who have labs, and you did work with a lot of organizations. You need to circle back and go back to them and say, hey, why don't you implement some type of wellness program into your company? And you know, you can do those wellness screenings. You can give their employees some insight on their health, because again, if you're not an actual nurse practitioner, then you're not able to diagnose and treat. We know that. Right. But you can give those individuals their results, have them follow up with their own PCP, whatever those results are. So that's something you can also implement into your clinical lab. That's a service that you can provide under your scope of practice, as well as having a medical director in place. So other testing besides COVID definitely can be offered in your lab, biometric or paramedical exams. Now, they're similar, but paramedical exams are more specific to individuals who may be needing an exam for like insurance, life insurance. That's what I like to call them, life insurance exams. There are insurance agents and companies that look for people that can go to different places, go to homes and draw labs, collect vital signs, collect medical history, so that they can determine if they're going to, you know, extend a policy to this person or this family. So think about that. You know, I know a nurse that I want to say, I think the last time I talked to her, she does anywhere between like 150 to 250 per person for those paramedical exams. There are companies that recruit for it, but if you're looking to do it more as an independent thing, you have to literally present a proposal to a company or an insurance agent. Find insurance agents in your area that they look like they're doing really well. They look like they're signing up a lot of people for policies. they have to get these results. They have to, in order for that policy to go through, they have to have these results for these clients. And so you can go out and do something as simple as that, draw bloods and take vitals, height and weight, medical history, and all of that. So that's something else you can implement in your clinical lab. Let's see, urine drug testing. That is huge. That is huge. I just had a talk with one of my clients, and she's gets so many people in her door for just urine drug screens. Just that alone, urine drug screens. So if you talk about charging $50 to $75 just to collect a urine sample and either read it yourself or send it out to the lab for it to get tested, how simple is that, right?
Yeah.
You don't need a special skill to teach a person how to leave a sample.
Right.
No special skills. So urine drug screens, whether they be federal or non-federal. And then, so usually those are like DOT related or some type of federal contract employees. But you also have nursing schools, nursing programs. They drug test. And when all these new students start, either they start in spring or fall or whatever, everybody has to get a drug test, right? I did it. I know you did it. Somebody had to collect for your drug screen. So these programs, and not just nursing programs, other health profession programs. And then you have another one that goes with the urine drug, but you do have to do the training for it, is the breath alcohol testing.
Okay.
So any employees that are mandated or regulated by the federal DOT, they may be required to do that under special circumstances. So those are the services that you can look into offering. So I gave a whole lot there.
Yeah, and it's good because a lot of people still have this, well, I don't know what to do with this anymore type of attitude. And I'm like, but the CLIA list is long. It's like
exhausting. When you look at that thing, it's exhausting. The amount of tests that are CLIA waived approved, I'm like, I have never even ran some of these tests before.
Yeah. And it's possible. I just want people to understand what's possible. I feel like we would be better off in nurse entrepreneurship if we even knew what we could be doing, right? A lot of people just don't have an idea, and they come with questions like, can I start this, or do I have to have that, and what type of experience do I need? And I'm like, I think we're complicating it more than what it has to be, really.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Find just something as simple as like find a pregnancy support group in your area, in your city, and say, hey, I'm going to offer gender reveal testing. You got all the pregnant women there ready. Sign them up, get consents. Say, hey, you want to do a gender reveal testing before your next ultrasound? And I mean, there's just the thing is that what I've realized that in the small business community is that sometimes we are afraid to invest in knowledge.
Right.
We are afraid to say, okay, there's someone out there that actually has the ability to help me. But I don't know if I really want to invest in a course or a class or, I'm going to try to just figure it out. But then you've already wasted 6 months and a year, or you've abandoned your business, even worse, just because you said, well, I don't want to invest. But it takes money to make money, right? You have to be willing to say, I'm going to invest in some time with Alviana. I'm going to invest in some time with Dr. Chung or whoever. There's numerous people in B&E that are a wealth of knowledge. And if they are offering some type of class or workshop or consultation or coaching, then you have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to invest in this because I want to see a return.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to that wholeheartedly. I wish I would have learned it earlier because I did one of the reasons why I'm like a jack of all trades, literally, is because I didn't want to invest in money. And so I took the time you'll invest one of two ways, either money or time, right? So at the time, I invested my time. Now I no longer have the time as much to sit there and try to learn everything. So now it's become more important. Who can give me the result quicker, right? And sometimes it means putting down a serious amount of investment. But what I recognized was that investment typically comes back to you in tenfold, and you execute a lot quicker. One of the things I want to highlight specifically for us as nurse entrepreneurs, for the listeners that are listening to me, I find it funny. We invest so much money into getting all of these degrees. I'm talking 30, 40, 50, $60,000 in debt over a degree. Yeah. A degree that it's good. I'm not knocking education, but what I'm trying to show you guys is a person is offering you a $1,500, even a $5,000 course or something. We will turn our nose, roll our eyes, huff and puff, but think nothing about going to the folks university and dropping $50,000 for a degree that will only teach you how to become a dedicated employee.
Right.
It won't teach you how to fish.
Exactly. And then the university and colleges, let's say if you don't get those jobs and those promotions, you cannot go back to that university or college and say, hey, I want my money back because I didn't get this job. I applied and they didn't hire me. I didn't get the promotion. I didn't get the raise. So I need my money back. But are you going to give the diploma back? Are you So yes, that we take the risk of saying, I'm going to go back to school to do whatever, XYZ. But it's hard for us to take a risk in a $50 class that is just going to maybe spark an idea. Literally spark an idea that could make you thousands, tens and thousands, or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so we have to get out of that mindset. We really have to literally compare it to, okay, it's just like taking a course. It's just like a semester. It's just like the certification. It's just like I gotta get my BLS. You know, I have to get my ACLS. You ICU nurse, you have to have ACLS. It's mandatory. Well, you want to be a business owner. Okay, well, it's mandatory to find out what you need to do so that you're successful. So it's the same concept.
Oh, I like that. It's mandatory to find out what you need to do. Like, it's literally, I want you guys to catch that. It's literally our obligation in order to take the gift, the purpose that we have, that we're giving away to people. It is our responsibility to not take that lightly. So if that means getting higher education or investing in a coaching program, or accountability program, or mentorship, or whatever, it's literally an obligation to do that, so that you present the best that you possibly can in order to help somebody else to do the same. You talked earlier about you got started in business and you really didn't have a lot of examples and people to help you along the way, which has kind of sort of led to you launching your businesses that help people. So what are some of those things that you had to, what were some of those challenges that you had to get through, some of those learning lessons?
Yeah. So, you know, things like understanding and finding state laws, right? This stuff is available. It's out there. But if you don't know what questions to ask, you don't know where to look, and you can't act oblivious when it comes to the law. You can't.
Nope, I didn't see it.
You cannot say I didn't know.
Right.
You can't. So, you know, back then, I didn't know anything about hiring an attorney. Hiring an attorney? What? I didn't do anything wrong. What I need to hire an attorney to do? But now I know you hire or you call an attorney just for the simplest question. Hey, I want to know, can I do XYZ in this state? Or I want to know, can I legally provide this? Or can you review this contract? It's just some things as simple as that, where I shied away from it. I avoided it because I thought that, one, I thought it was, you know, way above my pay grade, what I was doing. Two, I thought I couldn't afford it. And I was just I just didn't know better. So now the first thing, like one of the first things I tell people in the academy, the program, listen, get an attorney, get an accountant. You are neither one of those, and don't try to be. It's so important. It's so vital. So that's definitely something I've learned that I did not know and understand back then. Some other things are like, you know, marketing. right? I was just trying to, what I was doing, I was like looking at what everybody else was doing, and I was trying to duplicate it, do it myself, DIY, which to some degree, marketing is one of those things that you will probably DIY at the beginning of the business stages. But actually finding and hiring somebody to do your marketing is golden. Those are things that maybe if I did 6 months to a year after launching, that I would have known to do that. I would have invested. But I just felt like, hey, everybody's just out for my money. I'm not going to spend no money doing this. I can do it myself. And then you end up overwhelming yourself and exhausting yourself because you're wearing so many hats. You're working in the business, you're working on the business, you answering the phones, you answering the emails you still got your Gmail business account because you didn't know that you should go get a branded email account with your actual domain name, right? So these are things which I still have some Gmail business accounts, but I don't use them anymore. But these are things that, unless somebody actually tells you and you actually can understand why, because somebody made something simple as like, well, why do I have to buy an email account? Why can't I just use Gmail? Because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look
you can if you want to. However,
and I'm probably not going to do business with you, but it just doesn't look good. And you got to understand why that, these companies spend millions of dollars in branding and marketing. And you being a small business, a new startup, you have to be able to invest something. You may not have all of that to invest, but just these are things that I've learned that had I was able to understand and know why I should have invested earlier in certain things in my business, I would have. I definitely would have. And just going back, I realized it was all a learning curve, a journey for me. But I definitely realized where I made some errors that could have, which, thank God none of the errors caused me my whole business. But I definitely made some errors that could have definitely caused me my whole business. I could have gave up. I could have just been like, forget this. People give up after a year or two. And it's not really until year 3 or later that your business actually starts to do something. A lot of people don't realize that. They give up in that first year or that second year, and they don't even realize how close they are to reaching that point where that something pivotal is about to change. That doesn't happen. Most businesses takes 3 to 5 years. So, it definitely is not something that happens overnight. I mean, it can, but you also have to realize, if you want this overnight or this quick success, are you mentally and financially prepared to handle it?
Yep.
You can go out there and say, I'm going to make, $500,000 in 6 months, but can you handle it? Can you handle it? Because you might say, well, I make 50,000 or 75,000 a year, and you're still in debt. So what are you going to do with the 500,000? Can you handle it? So everything takes time, and so those are just some things that I would have liked to have done, and that I tell people now: don't skimp on this. Don't be cheap. Don't try to bypass it. Just do this. Put all these ducks in a row, and you'll be set up for success.
I agree. I think I'm going to do a whole nother podcast on that topic. Listen, I always tell people, don't be like Al, because I made some serious mistakes along the way. And a lot of it was being cheap. A lot of it was cheap mindset. And thinking that I didn't have the money to invest in it. But what I recognize is that on the back end, what'll happen is you'll end up spending more money trying to repair. And then, as our good friend says, Tamika, she says that she's a compliance person in our community. She says, well, you still got to get compliant. So what you're going to end up having to do is spend more money to fix the problem, but you still got to be compliant. So now you got to spend money to remain compliant too, when you could just started out compliant, right? So these are things that I'm glad that you brought them up. all very, very good. And what I want to highlight after you said that is this: when you decide to invest into someone's program,
Mhm.
course, mentorship, whatever, it's actually an investment within yourself, because what you get in return is just like what you said. I messed up here, so I'm going to tell you how to avoid that.
Right.
You get all of that. And the cool part about it is you're taking all of their experience and shrinking it down into a 6 month course or a
Right.
6 week program. You're literally taking, sometimes people have 10, 15, 20 years of experience that
Right.
just got shrunk down. And so, I mean, that's invaluable in itself. You really
Right.
can't put a price tag on that, but we don't necessarily look at it that way. So I wanted to highlight that. Look, Jessica said that she went through a lot of stuff in the beginning. We're trying to figure out a cheat code. Here's the cheat
Right.
code of how to avoid
Yes.
in the very beginning. And yes, year 1, 2, and 3 are very interesting. But I
Yes.
will remind y'all, I'm gonna remind you guys real quickly, because a lot of our audience are nurses. So I want to remind y'all that you didn't give up after the first failed test, the
Right.
failed practical, you didn't pass NCLEX on the first time, or
Mhm.
whatever that challenge was in nursing school, you did not give up.
Right.
Almost all of us here are nurses in some capacity.
Yes.
Okay, I'm willing to believe all the nurses in B&E got their nursing degree honest. Okay, we got our
And
degrees honest. Okay,
totally different topic.
another podcast. But my point is that don't give up when you get
Right.
ready to launch your med spa, when you get ready to launch your IV hydration, trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to navigate that and figure out, well, what's the law? Can I infuse this and all of that? Don't give up, especially in the very beginning, because it
Right.
can be challenging. But that's why we have representation from people such as yourself to help us through this, because it's challenging. It's not easy.
It
Business
is.
isn't easy.
It is.
But neither was nursing school and motherhood and everything else. Nothing in life is
Right.
really all that easy. And it takes a community of people to kind of wrap our arms around each other and get us through these things.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I want to know, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to share about either your practice, like what you're doing behind the scenes, or even your courses and things? Anything exciting or anything new coming up that we need to know about?
Yes, so we have our private practice business masterclass coming up on April 22nd. So you can register for that. I'm sure if you go on any of my pages, you'll see that. So we do that a couple times a year. So that one's coming up in just a 2 short weeks, April 22nd. And we are also hosting our first skills workshop. So it's an IV hydration and aesthetic skills workshop here in Tampa on June 10th. Full day skills workshop. It's going to be, just from morning to evening, full skills, and learning some more detailed things about IV hydration, specifically in regards to vitamin infusions,
Mhm.
treatments, protocols. We're also going to be showing and demonstrating advanced microneedling and introduction to neuromodulator injectables. So that's coming up on June 10th. June 10th, you can go to aesthetics and IV hydration skills.com to register for that as well. As far as my practice, I have a vision to now go into the lower income community
Mhm.
and provide services. So we are looking to open up a second location here in Tampa.
What?
And yes, so and then whatever else comes after that, I'll just let God lead. And so, yep, that's what's going on.
So a little birdie told me,
Oh goodness.
yes, that you actually got a your own brick and mortar. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did I hear that right?
Yes, we are in our own standalone building, which is amazing on itself on its own. Didn't expect that. That was one of those things where prime example of you not giving up and you opportunities and doors opening, months and years later. So yes, that is amazing. To we moved in 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, that is quite nice to have our own, solid building. And it's amazing. We have I think a total of 8 exam rooms now. So it's literally
Ooh.
double. We came from somewhere, we had 4 exam rooms, and now we have 8. So it has doubled. And it's amazing how literally going into this bigger space, then all of a sudden business increased.
Yes.
So I didn't change any, I didn't do any new marketing. I didn't do anything new. I didn't hire more people. But then all of a sudden it's just like business just increased substantially. I looked at the numbers from March and I was like, we didn't do anything different. It's just
Mm.
like we just started getting more people in the door, more patients. So it's been amazing.
Let's stay there for just a second. You expanded your capacity, right?
Yes.
So what I want to say is this. Again, it goes back to investment, because I'm willing to bet, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I do get these things wrong. But I'm willing to bet that a bigger standalone building cost you more than the prior location,
Oh
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
That was probably the one of the things I was like, I don't know if I want to take on this
Mm.
financial responsibility. It was significant. It was significant as far as overhead expense goes. And I said, you know what? If I want to see the return and the increase that I'm believing, I have to make this step, because every time you make a step and get to another level, there's just I was telling somebody the other day, fear and doubt does not go away. You just reach another level
Yeah.
of it, and you reach to a point where you just keep going. You're like, you know what? I know that this is scary. This is concerning, the amount of money I have to put into this, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And that's literally what I did. I just said, you know what? I was like, I'm doing it. I'm moving in. I'm getting this space. It was also, let me just keep it real with everybody, that you have to also believe the things you pray for. So when I pray for expansion, and if I tell you, I haven't done like a tour of inside, the colors that were already in this facility, the wall colors, paint, matched our logo for the
Wow.
clinic.
Wow.
I was like, when I really went in there when it was empty, I said I was supposed to be here.
Wow.
You have to walk in such a level of in your life that whatever room that you go in,
Mm.
whatever tables that you're sitting at, you have to come with a certain mindset that I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here. It's not. I'm in a place where that I know that I have prayed to be. So that's the mindset you have to go with in life. And if you truly want it, you'll go after it bad enough, and then God will just start opening doors, and you like, oh my gosh, like hold on, like wait, I don't know if I
Mm-hmm.
was ready for this. This is happening
Mm-hmm.
so fast. But yeah, that's just and I'll probably have to do like a totally whole segment on that,
Yeah.
on how that happened, and just going from literally a house calls to this.
Mm.
Because yeah, I think another thing that I'll mention before we finish is that we look at what other people do on social media, and we try to kind of in our minds compete with it. And we try to, I have students who I can't tell their business, but I have students who are blowing their business out the park. But if I was to pay attention what they were doing, everybody else is doing, what everybody's doing, not what Jessica's doing, what Jessica's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be doing, because a part of what I'm supposed to be doing is helping people to do what I'm doing. And that might come with that. What I need to happen is someone is going to exceed what I've even taught them. They're going to
Yep.
go beyond it. They're going to be like, hey, they're doing something that was not in the curriculum, and that's okay. So as much as um, I would like to move fast and do that, I'm doing things in order, and everybody has to realize they have to go through a process, go in order. You don't need to rush. You don't need to other than congratulating your colleague or friend, you don't need to try to, copy and duplicate and do what they're doing, because it may not be time for you to be at the level they're at.
Yep, I like that. You don't know what it's taken to even get there. You don't
Right.
know what it's taken to
Yes.
maintain that level behind the scenes.
Yes,
So
exactly.
having blinders on will really
Right.
help you.
Exactly. Tunnel
Really help.
vision.
Yeah, it
Tunnel
really
vision.
will. It will. Thank you so much. Thank you for just providing such knowledge and expertise, but also executing in excellence. That's what we
Thank
preach
you.
here
Yes.
in the B&E community, that we want our nurses to operate in excellence and operate in integrity.
Yes.
Integrity is one of the biggest things I can preach, because you may not be the best at everything, and that's okay, but
Right.
what you can do is try your best and do your best, right?
Yes.
And I want us to present businesses that people feel comfortable and confident in investing their hard-earned money and time
Yes.
into, right? Because we're serving them. At the end of the day, we're serving them. And hopefully they get an amazing med spa up and going, and
Right.
IV
Yeah.
hydration or whatever, and boom, we can celebrate them. But good stuff. I would love to. I'm hearing part two, part two, three, part four. I don't know, but I would love, 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 because I think when you have a space as a
Hmm.
game changer that I don't think people really recognize, because you can do
Yes.
so much with it. Regardless of, like you said, you have a exam room, so you could always rent out one of those rooms to someone else to do something
Absolutely.
else. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You could have CPR classes out of it for
Absolutely.
events and other things. And so a brick and mortar space is crucial. It's
Hmm.
vital. I'm
Yes.
glad that you are another example of what we can do with that. So I'm feeling like there might be another conversation behind
All
that.
right. Just let me know.
Jessica, before we get away, I want you to give you the opportunity to give final thoughts for anybody who is listening. What are your final thoughts as far as whatever you want to contribute, but more importantly, the person that's listening to you right now that says, well, that sounds good and all, but I can't do this because. What are your final thoughts with that?
You can do whatever your mind is set to do. And so if you say, I can't, you can't then. If you say you can, you will. And to me that's all there is to it. So it's all about mindset, and it's all about also your intentions and motives.
Yes.
So if you have pure motives and good intentions, um, you will absolutely see the rewards of your labor. Absolutely. And so we have to keep that at the forefront of our minds, but also doing what you can to work on your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, I've been saying this for the past few years, that the the Jessica people see now, I was not always like this. No. Tell about
Ooh.
podcast interview. You want me to be on camera? No, not at.
Ooh.
You want me to speak in front of people? No. Mm-mm. You want me to talk about myself? Not. I was just very in the background. Don't put the intention on me. And I guess I have a humility, so I'm still that person where I don't necessarily want people to like give me accolades, but I realize God has given me a voice, so now I'm using it. But this is not always who I used to be. So I did have to go through a season where God had to literally change the way I thought, my
Mm-hmm.
thinking, and you have to do whatever if you got to read books, if you got to read motivational books, if you got to listen to motivational podcasts, if you got to pray, if you got to go to church, do what you need to do so that up here is right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That might be the best part of it, because a lot of it is really our mindset.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight a couple of comments. A couple of our Facebook users. One said, "That's phenomenal. My hats off to you,
Mhm.
Dr.
Thank
Chung."
you.
One of our LinkedIn followers is giving you some congratulations and
Thank
kudos
you
there.
so much.
And then finally, we have another Facebook follower that said, absolutely, mindset is everything. So I want to end on this note here. Again, thank you, Dr. Chung, for
Thank
coming
you.
and blessing us with your knowledge and expertise. I do want to remind everybody that is listening to me me that mindset is everything.
Yes.
And another part of what we do here in the Black nurse entrepreneurs community is we wrap our arms around each other and we kind of pull each other up. So accountability is also another part of that. Sometimes your mindset is in a space where you're not really wanting to, like, I don't know if I can go on, I'm having a bad day today or whatever. So where the community kicks in is we're there to kind of help you. We're there to have a shoulder and a listening ear that you can lean up on. And so not only is coaching mentorship incredibly important, not only is investing in the business, investing into self-development, but community is another one of those cheat codes that we don't talk about. We don't talk about it enough, but it actually is super valuable because a community of like-minded individuals can help you on those days. They literally will pray for you on your behalf. Sometimes you got to ride the prayers of somebody else until you're able to stand on your own 2 feet. So that's why I want you to be a part of our community, okay? Please, if you are listening and you are a Black nurse, you don't even have to be in business. I just want you to be with us because we're very intentional about creating a space that is safe for you to come in and to grow as an individual, to grow in your career, but also to grow in your entrepreneurial endeavors. I am inviting you. Make sure that you follow me across Facebook, across Instagram, across TikTok. Download our podcast. Share this with everybody. Share this with your colleagues, those people that you know that have been talking about they wanted to do IV hydration and haven't started yet. This right here. Let them hear this podcast for me, okay? But more importantly, get in our Facebook group. Come and join us. I always say this, and I'm gonna leave on this note. I always say that we are the trend. And what that means to me is that we represent the trend of how business is done with integrity, how we as Black nurses can go out there and change how healthcare is delivered in this country, how we can create generational wealth and health for many generations to come, right? So we are the trend. And I want to thank you, Dr. Chung, for being a part of BNE, and BNE presents the trend. Okay, that's our time, everybody. So we're going to say good night. Well, not good night, not yet. You got to get lunch first, but we'll say good evening. Have a good evening and much love to everybody. And make sure that you connect with Dr. Chung. She is a wealth of knowledge. Okay, bye, Dr. Chung, and bye, BNE audience.